Welcome to HD Coins World, where we uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change. Today, we're diving into the top 6 ultra-rare and most valuable Washington quarter-dollar coins, some of which have shocked collectors with their staggering prices. Could you be holding one of these rare gems without even knowing it? Stay tuned, because you won't believe how much these quarters are worth. Let's start. Number 1. Imagine holding a piece of history in your hands, one that millions have overlooked but could be worth a small fortune. The 1965 Washington quarter is a coin that has sparked curiosity and debate among collectors for decades. While most people assume that quarters from this year are common pocket change, certain rare varieties and minting anomalies have sent collectors on the hunt for hidden treasures. Could you be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it? Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal might make you take a second look at every quarter you come across. The year 1965 was a turning point in U.S. coinage. It marked the end of an era, the transition from silver to copper-nickel-clad coins. Silver quarters disappeared from circulation, and the new clad composition became the standard. But here's where things get interesting. Some 1965 quarters were mistakenly struck on 90% silver planchets intended for the previous year's coins. These rare transitional errors are among the most valuable and sought-after Washington quarters in existence. The big question is, how do you spot one? First, let's talk weight. A standard clad 1965 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams, but if you come across one that feels just a bit heavier, closer to 6.25 grams, you might have a silver planchet error in your hands. But that's not the only thing to look for. Edge inspection is key. Regular clad quarters have a distinctive copper-colored band along the rim, while silver quarters have a uniform, bright edge with no sign of copper. Now, here's where the mystery deepens. Some of these silver 1965 quarters were struck with exceptionally strong details, meaning they were possibly minted using high-pressure dies, making them even rarer. But transitional errors aren't the only valuable finds from this year. Certain 1965 quarters have dramatic minting errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or even missing clad layers. Imagine finding a quarter where the nickel coating is completely gone, exposing the copper core. This error can drastically increase its value. And then there are full drum lines on the reverse. The sharper and more detailed the drummer's design, the more desirable the coin. Now, here's where it gets really exciting. Some collectors have unknowingly spent these rare quarters, thinking they were just spare change, only for them to surface years later in auctions, fetching shocking prices. Could there still be undiscovered treasures out there? It's entirely possible. Have you ever found an old quarter that looked unusual? Let me know in the comments, and for those lucky enough to come across one of these ultra-rare coins, their worth is truly astonishing. Depending on its condition, strike, and rarity, a 1965 Washington quarter has been known to sell for anywhere between $7,200 to $68,000, and even more for exceptional examples. So, before you spend that next quarter, take a closer look. That one moment of curiosity could lead to an incredible discovery. Happy hunting, and don't forget to check your change. Number 2. There's something about old coins that makes them feel special, almost like tiny time machines carrying the past into the present. But what if I told you that one specific quarter from 1974 isn't just an old coin? It could be worth an absolute fortune. That's right. The 1974 Washington quarter has some ultra-rare varieties that collectors are desperately searching for. And the best part? Some of them are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Could you have one of these rare gems in your pocket right now? Stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal might change the way you look at your loose change forever. To understand why the 1974 quarter is so special, we need to take a step back into history. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins for circulation, but not all of them were created equal. Most people think of 1,974 quarters as common clad coins, but hidden among them are a few extraordinary varieties that have stunned collectors and numismatists alike. One of the rarest is the 1974 quarter struck on a 40% silver planchet, a mistake that should never have happened. How does this error occur? Well, 40% silver planchets were used for Eisenhower dollars during this time, and somehow, a few of these planchets ended up in quarter production. If you find a 1974 quarter that looks different, weighs slightly more than normal, and has a bright silver edge instead of a copper-colored rim, you might be holding something truly special. But silver errors aren't the only surprises hiding in this year's quarters. There are also highly valuable double die varieties, where certain details on the coin, especially in Washington's profile or the inscriptions, appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. These errors can be incredibly subtle to the untrained eye but are worth serious money to collectors. And let's not forget about another stunning error: off-center strikes. When a quarter is struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design missing, its value skyrockets, especially if the date is still fully visible. Some of these 1974 off-center quarters have sold for thousands of dollars simply because of a small mistake during the minting process. So, with all these rare errors and varieties, what does this mean for you? It means that every single 1974 quarter you come across deserves a second look. Have you ever found a coin that looked unusual or different? Maybe one with a weird rim, odd coloration, or doubled letters. Let me know in the comments. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for: the numbers. Depending on the variety, condition, and rarity, a 1974 Washington quarter has sold for an astonishing $91,000 to $150,000 at auction. And experts believe that certain rare varieties of this coin could even cross the $1 million mark in the future. So, the next time you're sorting through your spare change, don't rush. That one ordinary-looking quarter could be an incredible hidden treasure. Keep searching, stay curious, and happy hunting! Number 3. Have you ever wondered if the change in your pocket could be worth thousands of dollars? What if I told you that a rare 1981 Washington quarter exists that collectors are desperately searching for? That's right. Most people pass these coins without a second thought, but certain rare varieties from this year have been selling for shocking amounts at auction. Could you be holding one of these hidden treasures without even knowing it? Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal might make you take a much closer look at your quarters. The 1981 Washington quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, which produced millions of these coins for circulation. But here's the twist: not all of them were created equal. In a time when quarters were mass-produced, rare errors and special varieties slipped through the cracks, creating some of the most valuable modern quarters in existence. But what makes certain 1981 quarters so special? Let's break it down. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin's design is imprinted twice due to a misalignment during the striking process. If you carefully examine the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust, and notice a slight shadowing or duplication of the letters, you might have a double die error in your hands. These rare coins have been known to fetch impressive amounts in the collector's market, but that's just the beginning. Another valuable error to look for is the off-center strike. Imagine a quarter where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't struck properly. These kinds of errors can send the value skyrocketing, especially if the date remains visible. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more desirable the coin becomes. Then there's the missing clad layer error. Regular quarters from 1981 were struck on a copper-nickel planchet, but in some cases, the outer nickel layer was missing, revealing the pure copper core beneath. This creates a visually striking coin, making it an instant collector's piece. If you ever come across a 1981 quarter that looks oddly reddish or missing its usual silver luster, don't ignore it. It could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. But here's where things get even more exciting. Some 1981 quarters were struck using exceptionally strong dies, creating a bold, well-defined design with sharper details than usual. These coins, often referred to as full drumline quarters due to their sharply struck reverse, are highly sought after in the numismatic world. The better the condition and the stronger the details, the more valuable the coin. Now, the real question is, have you ever come across a quarter that looked a little different? Maybe one with a strange strike, unusual color, or a slight doubling in the lettering? Let me know in the comments because some of these rare finds have been sitting unnoticed in circulation for decades. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Depending on its rarity, era type, and overall condition, a 1981 D Washington quarter has been known to sell for anywhere between $900 to $28,000, and for the finest specimens, even more. So before you spend that next quarter, take a moment to inspect it. That tiny detail could be the key to discovering a rare and valuable coin. Keep searching, stay curious, and as always, happy hunting! Number 4. Everyday pocket change might seem ordinary. But what if I told you that a rare 1979 Washington quarter could be hiding in plain sight, worth an absolute fortune? That's right. While most quarters from 1979 are only worth their face value, a few ultra-rare varieties have stunned collectors, selling for thousands of dollars at auction. Could you be holding one of these valuable coins without even realizing it? Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal might make you take a second look at every quarter you come across. The year 1979 was a major one for U.S. coinage. It marked the introduction of the Susan B. Anthony dollar, but while the spotlight was on the new dollar coin, something unusual was happening with the Washington quarter. The U.S. Mint was producing these quarters by the millions, but not all of them were struck perfectly. In fact, some rare errors and special varieties have made certain 1979 quarters incredibly valuable. So, what should you be looking for? One of the most famous and desirable errors from this year is the doubled die obverse. This happens when the coin's design is imprinted twice, creating a slightly shadowed or doubled effect on letters and numbers. The easiest place to check for doubling is in the word, liberty, or the phrase, "In God we trust." If you see even the slightest doubling, you might be holding a rare and valuable coin, but that's not the only error worth hunting for. Another shocking mistake from 1979 is the off-center strike. When a coin isn't properly aligned in the minting press, the design can be struck off-center, leaving a portion of the coin blank. The more extreme the off-center strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the full date is still visible. And then there's the missing clad layer error. As you know, modern quarters are made from a copper core with an outer layer of nickel. But in some cases, the outer layer was never applied correctly, leaving behind a quarter with a distinctive copper appearance. These coins are extremely eye-catching and highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's talk about another key factor: condition. The sharper the details on a coin, the higher its value. Collectors often seek out Washington quarters with full drum lines on the reverse, meaning the fine details of the design are struck perfectly. If you find a 1979 quarter with a crisp, well-defined design and no significant wear, it could be worth far more than just 25 cents. Have you ever come across an unusual-looking quarter? Maybe one with an odd strike, a missing layer, or a strange doubling on the letters? Let me know in the comments, because these rare varieties are still out there, hiding in circulation. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for. Depending on its condition, rarity, and era type, a 1979 Washington quarter has been known to sell for anywhere between $4,200 to $48,000, and for the finest specimens, even more. So before you spend that next quarter, take a closer look. That one small detail could turn your everyday pocket change into a life-changing discovery. Keep searching, stay curious, and as always, happy hunting! Number 5. Imagine holding a simple 1986 Washington quarter in your hand. Just another piece of pocket change, right? But what if I told you that certain rare versions of this very coin have sold for thousands of dollars at auction? That's right. A few rare 1986 P quarters are out there, waiting to be discovered, and they could be worth a small fortune. Could you have one hiding in your collection? Stay with me, because today we're diving deep into the secrets of the ultra-rare 1986 P Washington quarter, The 1986 P quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of these coins were struck for circulation. At first glance, they may seem common, but hidden among them are rare varieties and striking errors that make some of these coins highly valuable to collectors. Understanding what makes these quarters special is the key to spotting one of these treasures. One of the rarest and most valuable varieties of the 1986 P quarter is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin's design is accidentally struck twice, causing a slight but noticeable duplication in certain details. The best places to look for doubling are in the words, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust." If you notice any shadowing or doubling in these areas, you could be looking at an extremely valuable coin. Another error that can make a 1986 P quarter highly valuable is the off-center strike. When a coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, it can end up with a misaligned design. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the full date is still visible. Some off-center quarters from this year have sold for impressive amounts at auction. Then there's the missing clad layer error. Modern quarters are made of a copper core with an outer layer of nickel, giving them their standard silver appearance. But in some cases, the nickel layer was never applied correctly, leaving behind a coin with a distinctive copper-colored surface. If you ever find a 1986 P quarter that looks oddly discolored or missing its usual shine, don't ignore it. It could be worth much more than just 25 cents. And let's not forget about strike-through errors. These occur when a foreign object, such as grease or debris, gets between the coin and the die during the striking process, leaving behind unusual indentations or missing details. These types of errors are rare and can make a quarter extremely valuable to collectors. Now, here's something every collector should know. The condition of your coin plays a huge role in its value. The highest prices go to quarters with sharp, well-defined details, known as full drum lines, on the reverse. If you have a 1986 P quarter with a bold, clear strike and no significant wear, it could be worth far more than face value. Have you ever come across a quarter that looked different? Maybe one with an odd color, strange doubling on the letters, or an off-center design. Let me know in the comments because these rare varieties are still out there, waiting to be discovered. And now, the part you've been waiting for, the numbers. Depending on the condition, rarity, and type of error, a 1986 P Washington quarter has sold for anywhere between $4,300 to $24,000, and in some cases, even more. So before you spend that next quarter, take a second look. That tiny detail could be the key to uncovering a rare and valuable coin. Keep searching, stay curious, and as always, happy hunting. Number 6. Have you ever spent a quarter without even thinking twice about it? What if I told you that a rare 1995 P Washington quarter could be hiding in your pocket or coin jar, worth thousands of dollars? Yes, some unsuspecting 1995 quarters have been discovered with rare errors and unique characteristics that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. So, how can you tell if you have one of these rare coins? Stay with me, because today we're uncovering the secrets behind the ultra-rare and most valuable 1995 P Washington quarter. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of these quarters in 1995, making it seem like a common coin. But not all of them were created equal. Some left the mint with extraordinary errors that have stunned collectors and skyrocketed in value over time. If you've never checked your 1995 quarters closely, you might want to start now, because a single mistake in the minting process could mean big money. One of the most famous and highly sought-after errors is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin's design is struck twice, slightly misaligned, creating a noticeable doubling effect. The best places to check for doubling are in the words, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust." If the letters appear shadowed or thickened, you could be holding a coin worth far more than face value. Another rare and valuable error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to shift off-center. The greater the misalignment, the more valuable the coin, especially if the full date remains visible. Some off-center quarters from this year have shocked collectors with their high auction prices. Then there's the missing clad layer error. Modern quarters are made from a copper core with an outer layer of nickel, giving them their silver appearance. However, some 1995p quarters were struck without this outer layer, revealing a distinct copper-colored surface. These unique coins stand out immediately and are highly prized by collectors. If you ever come across a quarter that looks unusual or has a copper tone on one side, don't spend it. It could be extremely valuable. And let's not forget about strike-through errors. These occur when foreign materials like grease or debris interfere with the minting process, leaving behind missing details or strange indentations. While these errors may seem small, they can dramatically increase a coin's value in the eyes of collectors. Now, condition plays a major role in determining value. The most valuable 1995p quarters are those with sharp, well-defined details and little to no wear. Collectors pay top dollar for coins in pristine condition, especially if they display full drum lines on the reverse, meaning every fine detail of the design is perfectly struck. Have you ever come across a quarter that looked different? Maybe an odd strike, strange doubling on the letters, or a missing layer? Let me know in the comments, because these rare varieties are still out there, waiting to be found. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the numbers. Depending on its condition, rarity, and type of error, a 1995p Washington quarter has been known to sell for anywhere between $3,600 to $16,000, and in some cases, even more. So before you spend that next quarter, take a second look. That tiny detail could be the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. Keep searching, stay curious, and as always, happy hunting!